Yeah.
I mean, he got a good, like, I disagree with some stuff he says, but he has a good basketball mind.
Oh yeah, he's
phenomenal basketball.
For sure, he got a basketball mind. He like to me, kind of like the athlete Joe Budden to me. Like he just Welcome to the rundown, y'all, / episode 30, right?
Yeah, this is the 30th episode, spectacular.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, man, epic season. You know what I'm saying? Season 1 of the hottest new podcast in the nation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, you know, we kind of going to do this just because we don't want to, you know, force any topics or anything like that. But also, I do want to put out there, if you do have any requests about any topics or anything like that, we will, you know, be happy to look at them and, you know, put them in the stash if we want to talk about it. So be sure, if you want to, I'm gonna put it down below. Email is ThePrezEx@gmail.com. That's ThePrezEx@gmail.com. if you want to do that.
And actually, our guy, shout out to MKJ, because he sent us a topic which we will be using. I don't know that it will be the next episode, but we will definitely be using it. Yeah. So, man, and also, man, shout out to everybody who sent an email. Last week's topic. You know,
I think about shit on the name.
You be coming up with the spicy ones, man. like you be coming up with the spicy ones. I'm like, dude, like,
yeah. It'd be good, man. And I meant to, I haven't replied to all the people that emailed us back yet. And I said to myself, I was going to email them back just to be like, you know, thank you. But I tagged a few of them on Facebook and stuff like that. So y'all know, you know, but I will let y'all know soon how much we appreciate y'all. Maybe even, you know, put a token of our appreciation out there for that. So, once again, if you want to follow the Presidential Executive Podcast, we're officially on Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Stitcher. So go follow us and subscribe and rate us on that. And of course, we still on YouTube. Go and subscribe. We almost at 100 subscribers, Rag, you know. From the mud, from nothing, mud. You know.
I mean, and again, like we have no sponsorships. We have gotten some emails.
Oh man,
for some people wanting us to you know, sponsor their stuff, but I mean, we're able to keep it authentic. You know, we don't have to censor what we say.
Right.
It's not always popular. You know, but
definitely not.
You know, it definitely comes from a place of righteousness. And when I say righteousness, I don't mean God righteousness, I mean honesty. You know what I'm saying? Like when you say, oh, that's a righteous dude, like he's an honest dude, we're true to ourselves. Mm-hmm. You know, and I know this shirt says I'm always right. You know, see the back, and rule number 2 says see rule number 1. But no, that's not true. Like when I say that, I mean I'm right from the standpoint, I believe you're the same way. We're right from the standpoint of we really believe what we're saying, and what we're saying is not just emotional. It's not just how I'm feeling at the moment, because something happened to me, so I feel this way. Like it's carefully thought out, it's carefully meditated, it's carefully researched, it's carefully prayed about. Mm-hmm. And we're both, you've seen it on this show, like we subject to evolve and to grow and to change. If we get better information or we get some misinformation, we'll come back and say, hey, you know what? I used to think this way. I mean, you've done it on this show. When I said something, you'd be like, you know what? When you put it that way,
right? You
made me see. And there's times I'd be like, you know, my favorite phrase is, I got to concede, you know. So that's where we are.
Yeah.
You know?
So, and I hope y'all see, like, this is a podcast, but those that are tuned into our YouTube, you know, I try to create and edit it, try to make it kind of like a show. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, we kind of get some type of
I saw that with the close-up
some vibe, and they saw we got a little close-up going on, you know what I'm saying? So we see all the, you know what I'm saying, the darkness and the blackness and the beard and stuff. So
saying Money Talks, he quoted that it was a lady that said in the movies, "I'm ready for my close up, Mr. DeMille."
So it's, you know what I'm saying. We appreciate everybody that's been shouting out. You know what I'm saying. I know it's not, you know, we're not in the masses, quote unquote.
Right.
You know what I'm saying. Yeah, but you know, every little bit, you know, helps and counts, and it means something. You know what I'm saying. So I truly mean that, and so that's what it is. So let's get on with this rundown, dog.
All right, what we got up first?
Man, my country cousin Kwame Brown. You know what I'm saying? He has been in the news last couple of days. Yeah. I think all this stuff stemmed from all the smoke.
Yeah,
the interview with Gil.
With Gilbert Arenas on there with Matt Barnes and Captain Jack, Steven Jackson, and Gil used to play. They were teammates when Gilbert went to Washington after he left Golden State, and he went to Washington. They were teammates for a while on the
I thought about. I'm like, I guess he was at the tail end. Mm-hmm. Kwame was before he got shipped out of there.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I just want to play this just a little bit what Kwame said, and then we can get into both of our kind of perspective of kind of what happened and all that. So
every time I try to go on YouTube now, I can't get on YouTube. It's throwing me off of YouTube. Boy, they love to block people that tell the truth.
Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Becky with the good hair, you went to work today. You went to ESPN to your mama, Rachel Nichols, who I know very well, who, if you look at the timeline of when I was a teenager and when I was in D.C., she was right there, and she was interviewing me. And she was very disrespectful herself. So it would make sense that they put Rachel Nichols there to ask them little boys in front of mama what it is you think about this guy. And then Matt Barnes, your response was so corny. Really, Becky with the good hair? You really telling me you don't know what happened? You don't know why? When you stop, well, you love showing out in front of them women, don't you, boy? When you stop Miss Jeannie Buss from saying what she was saying, which she was saying something factual, it don't have nothing to do with me being angry, sir. It has everything with me exposing the hypocrisy and how you fake get a position and you do white people bidding. All you, Jack, and all you do is talk about black males all day long. That's all you do. Now you on ESPN talking about another black that you won't have a conversation with.
Okay. And there's plenty more that he was saying that I've seen other little lives, and they were bleeping out a lot of stuff that he was saying on the YouTube thing.
So who is Kwame Brown for the people who may not know?
Kwame Brown, he was the number one pick in the 2001 NBA draft. Mm-hmm. The first high school player to get drafted number one. And the GOAT picked him. Michael Jordan, he chose him.
Washington.
He was in Washington. And hindsight, you like, what was he thinking? But honestly, at that time, he was kind of like, a hybrid, kind of like a KG-ish. 7 foot tall, 250, the move the way he does, dribble, you know what I'm saying? So it was like either Jordan was gonna get trashed or he was gonna get praised for, kind of being on the lookout. So he is the number one player, and he didn't have a good career. I mean, let's just be point blank. You know what I'm saying? His career, any career is a good career in the NBA, but numbers wise and what he was supposed to do, you know what I'm saying? He never even got close. So that's who Kwame Brown is.
Right. According to, and again, I mean, and so for argument's sake, like he did play I think 12 years in the league.
Something like it's been over,
and it wasn't a good career in terms of where he was picked at. But for context purposes though, also it wasn't a lot of, I'm looking it up now in the 2001 NBA draft. Out there first round, the best player was probably Pau Gasol.
He went 3 to us, right?
Yeah, no. Powell went to Atlanta, and I think it was a trade or something
to
like
go to
that.
Memphis. Okay,
right. But he was like number 3.
Yeah.
Then I would say the next one probably would be like, Zach Randolph, either Zach Randolph or Joe Johnson in the first round.
Okay, Joe Johnson was in that draft.
Yeah, he was picked. Joe was picked number 10.
Okay.
And Zebo was picked 19. Tony Parker was picked 28.
He came out as a freshman. Jason Richardson.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and he had a good run for a minute.
Yeah.
And then the other notable person from that draft was Gilbert Arenas, who went 31 to Golden State. I mean, and he did have a run where, like he was on that, so if you keep up with basketball, like some of these names, but it was not a lot of notable people in that draft. Like Tyson Chandler went number 2. And again, he went to the Clippers, but ended up getting traded to the Bulls.
Mm-hmm. And Tony Parker was in that draft too. Right.
Yeah, he was like the last pick of the first round. Yeah, of the first round. Shane Battier.
Yep.
But like I said, it was the only Hall of Famer, without a doubt, in that class is Powell and Tony Parker.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's a couple. You might debate some other people like years later, but for sure Tony Parker and Powell.
As far as Hall of Fame,
right?
And this is what I got to say about this. Like Kwame, I don't think this is what I think would happen. Jack and Matt are pretty much right. Like he's been like a joke for years. People always, Stephen A. Smith to, all those shows, sports shows and stuff like that. Like, but All the Smoke show is one that they caught the fade. You know what I'm saying? Like he just, I think he got fed up with, you know what I'm saying? Like people, like mind you, this has been almost 20 years ago since he got drafted, and probably 6 or 7 years ago since he's been retired.
Yeah.
So he's like looking at this is like, look, enough is enough. Like I've been the butt of a joke since 2001. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and they look at you as, they're players, and so he probably holds them to a higher standard as like, okay, y'all supposed to be quote unquote my brothers in the NBA fraternity. So why y'all still bringing me up?
And I think for context purposes, I think the way it kind of went is like they were talking about where Gilbert was drafted in response to the number 1 pick, because arguably you could say that Gilbert could have went 1. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Or at least in the lottery. Yeah. Because if he doesn't get injured, and he had 3 knee surgeries in 18 months, and this is not knee surgeries now where they do the little laser incision. Like they actually had to cut him open. Right. Completely change his game. But people talk about Dame and Curry and how far they shoot, and they forget. Oh, yeah. Like he had like a 3 or 4 year run. Like he gave Kobe 60.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying? And he said, like, basically, if he was a player now, like, how would you describe him? He said John Wall combined with Dame Lillard. It's like I was fast like John Wall, but I could shoot like Dame. And I think that's a pretty accurate comparison.
I say so.
I mean, and so, like, again, he had a phenomenal run. But they were kind of cracking on Kwame because it's like he got drafted number 1 and he didn't do nothing. And so to Gil's point, Gil was like, you got to understand, when he got drafted, he went to Jordan. Jordan was notoriously hard. This was not a 25-year-old or even a 4-year college player who was used to a college coach yelling at him, cussing him out, beating him into shape and everything like that. This was like a 17-year-old kid. And then you got the GOAT telling you, you ain't shit, you ain't nothing, you ain't never gonna be nothing, your mama wasn't nothing, you'll never be nothing. Like, you got the GOAT telling you this before you even play an NBA game. And so now your confidence is smashed. And so what Gil was saying is, like, by the time he got to Washington, like, Kwame was already mentally destroyed. He was like, but when you look at him, he's 6'11", 270. He said he was the second fastest dude on their team behind him. Yeah. He's like, but he couldn't, you know what I'm saying, like, get that confidence built up. And he said, had he been with somebody to where his confidence had gotten built up, then maybe his career goes differently. And I think where Jack was going in on him at was about like airballing the free throw.
Yeah.
And again, and he's right,
Yeah.
but like Jack was a shooter.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Jack could knock down jumpers from all over the court. Like Matt Barnes was a shooter. Gilbert was a shooter. They don't airball no free. Kobe was a shooter.
Right.
Like most big men are not shooters. You know what I'm saying? And so even though that is a free shot, nowadays they're more shooters, but a lot of them back then was not shooters. And so Gilbert kind of was trying to protect, you know, his teammate and things like that. I don't think he said anything that was damaging. I think that one thing I appreciate about Matt and Steve is that they keep it a buck, they keep it authentic, and a lot of stuff they were from the outside looking in.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think so. They didn't do no pandering. And just because we played in the NBA, I'm gonna say something nice about you. Like, no, I'm speaking what I feel.
Right. But on the other side too, I appreciate Matt and Stak really keeping it a buck. But then on the other side too, like, let's just be real. Matt Barnes, you know, when he had that thing with Derek Fisher, he went at Derek Fisher, you know what I'm saying? Because it was Derek Fisher. Mm-hmm. Like, if that was Zebo taking his lady, like, I don't, you know what I'm saying? This is me. I don't know. I don't think he would have been as aggressive to make those moves to do that. Now, I could be wrong, but what I think is that Kwame Brown, like, you, just like with anybody, somebody talk about you, you got to let them know that I ain't the one. Even though I may be right in what I'm saying.
I mean, well, we know for a fact Jack ain't going. So,
but I don't,
you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying I ain't never seen Kwame hand game.
I don't think I wanted with Kwame.
I'm just saying, we've seen Jack's hand game.
We seen Jack's hand game.
You know what I'm saying? Then not only that, like, it was another incident, you know, that got one of our Memphis guys kicked off the Pacers when it was an incident after the Malice and the Palace where they got into a fight, you know, at the club.
That was Jamal Tinsley. Was Jamal Tinsley?
Yeah,
he was over there.
Yeah, Tinsley was on there. Like, okay. but they got into it at the club.
Right. I remember that.
You know, again, like, one of our Memphis guys got kicked off the team.
Yeah.
And they told the story. They didn't say his name because they didn't want to put him out there like that. But
right.
But even then, like, this man got ran over by a car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the dudes they was beefing with, like, one dude's hit him with the car.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And
you talking about Jack, right?
Yeah, he hit Jack with the car.
Because he was in the hospital with his mouth all messed up.
But so we know Jack about that life.
He about that life, but I don't think they want that smoke rag with Kwame.
I mean, now you talking about like Jack 6'8".
Think so.
You know what I'm saying? Kwame 6'11". Like, it ain't that.
Look, for me, I seen both of them kind of respond, Matt and Stak, and they kind of like they said this go. They like, bro, we don't want the smoke, but. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I don't think that's what it is.
You want to get mad. Like,
okay, so like you got to remember, they spoke about Paul Pierce getting fired. Now, they're on Showtime, which is a different thing. Mm-hmm. However, they don't need to get, you know what I'm saying? Because you don't know how much leverage you got, or, you know, you can kind of do whatever you want or whatever.
Right.
Because even like somebody who we feel like is about their life and ain't going like in Uncle Shay Shay. Yeah. Like, it's times where he is bagged down, but I don't think it's because he's afraid. I just think it's like, you know what? I'm making too much money. You know, I got too much of a status. So I'm gonna say what's necessary to be said in front of the people watching, in front of the powers that be. Right. You know, because like we saw what just happened to Paul Pierce. Yeah. Like, again, when keeping it real goes wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, Kwame ain't got nothing to lose.
That's my point. That's why I think
so it
they
ain't
need
about
to be
right.
I don't think they won't smoke with him physically, and I don't think they just won't smoke. Like, he got time. Like, you ain't gonna win with somebody. Kwame got time. Kwame, I don't know if he got another gig or something like that, but he got time. When somebody got time, a motive, and passion, like, you know what I'm saying? And the Becky with the good hair just like had me tripping. When he called Matt
Barnes Becky with the good
Becky with the good hair. So,
look, Matt Barnes made national news back when he was in high school for like fighting like 5 or 6 dudes. You know what I'm saying? It's just him.
He bold for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, again, I'm not questioning his about that lifeness.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think because, again, like, you got to keep in mind, like, yeah, he do got good hair and everything, but like, he grew up in the gutter. He came up from the mud.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Dad was a dope boy. You know what I'm saying? Like he grew up in that, and then on top of that, like, you know, like I've got a biracial cousin.
Yeah.
What I know about a lot of like black guys that are biracial, like you find them on two ends of the spectrum, right? You got the one that's kind of identity crisis. And so he always, like, all of his friends are white.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he speaks in a way that he thinks is acceptable to society and everything. But like to a lot of them, you just another nigga. You just a light skinned nigga.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And so on the flip, you know, you got the kind that's like, they act blacker than me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and nobody ever questions my blackness, but you know, again, like they act like, dang, you go hard with it. And so growing up like that, where it's like, okay, yeah, I got one parent that's white, one parent is black, but it's like you got to work extra hard to prove that you not soft, that you tough, that you got hands, because people gonna try you constantly,
right?
You know, and so like I said, I don't want to see them fighting.
Yeah, I don't think Matt Barnes no punk or nothing.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think he is,
no,
but
he be on
ESPN too. You know what I'm saying? And so you got Rachel Nichols in your ear, you got Stephen A in your ear, you got people like that in your ear. Like, look, man, don't blow this gig. Like, you saw what just happened to Pleasure P.
Right.
You know, and he had a more illustrious career than both of them.
Right.
Put together.
Yeah.
Like, if you put both of their careers together, Paul Pierce still got a better career than both of them.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at the All-Stars, the All-NBAs, Finals MVP, championship, like, now Jack got a ring, but like you were like the third or fourth guy,
right?
You know, on the team. But again, it's like if they'll get rid of a certified Hall of Famer,
right?
And he didn't cuss.
Mm-hmm. No,
you know what I'm saying? He wasn't fighting nobody. The women were not being abused.
Mm-hmm.
Like I believe T.K. Kirkland was making a joke about it on one of the interviews he did, but like they was like, man, they tipped very well. So they paid them women very well to be shaking it in the background. He still got fired.
Right. Yeah.
Now, I ain't telling nobody what to do with their life, but I mean, like, that's empowering. You know what I'm saying? You do good work and somebody, man, pay you good money for yourself. Like, that's empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
But they still let him go. So I think if they come, you know what I'm saying? Like, they come back, man, Kwame, you a bitch. Like, next thing you know, we'll be reading on the thing, like, you know, Showtime releases Matt Barnes. You know, they taking their platform to, was it Black Effects? Or, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not down in Black Effects. I'm just saying, but that ain't Showtime.
Right.
You know, like, that's a whole nother level of money. You know, ESPN is a whole nother level of money. Mm-hmm. You know, so I hope it gets resolved peaceably.
Yeah, I do too. It's funny, man. Kwame, you need to get your own little platform. I think you're funny, guy. He from the South, dog. The way he was checking these folks.
Yeah.
He don't. To me, I want to move on after this, but I didn't think like. Then I think the whole narrative Kwame was just saying is, you know, stop degrading my name on this. You know what I'm saying? Not to that degree, but so then
did they degrade his name or did he degrade his name?
Well, no, they keep bringing it up though.
No, but again, they brought it up because they were talking about the draft that Gilbert Arenas was in, and he just so happened to be number one,
right,
in that draft. And in a weird twist, he ends up on the same team,
right,
with the number one. And then, like, I think Gilbert said something like, "Okay, yeah, you were supposed to be the face of the franchise, but it's my franchise now."
Right, but I mean, they didn't have to, but. When Stak, when he responded, he brought it back to, you was a bust, I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? I was, you know, fulfilled my potential, you didn't. My thing is when you gotta switch the subject, you're not sticking to what Kwame was talking about. He ain't talking about he had a better career than you or he was a better player than you. He just talking about you bringing up his name, y'all kiki ha ha and, you know, kind of on that. Like I said, I'm not saying that Stak and Matt are wrong. I'm just saying he letting y'all know enough is enough. It's been 18, 20 years now. Keep my name out your mouth in regards to that. Like for me, like if somebody, like he been it's been a long time, man. Like somebody been ragging on you for years and years. And it's like, but somebody gonna catch the fade at some point.
You posted a video the other day, right? Where you was shooting the jumpers at the fair, right?
Yeah.
You was knocking them down at them whack ass fair rims. So like, I was like, I mean, and I'm like, dang, this man all netting it because I know them junks flew, man. That's a way to get money. And I know they was mad as hell because like this man then splashed a couple of them junks.
I know you saw the white dude's face. He was like, they gave him the
people
ball.
was saying like, oh, you Al Bundy. You took that in straight, and then like I wasn't clowning you like it just because 2 or 3 people said Al Bundy, so I put a GIF up, and then what'd you do? You put a GIF up, then I put another one up, and you put another one, and like we just had a good laugh at it. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that serious, and I just think that it wasn't like they were sitting there, like, man, Gil, good to see you. Let's talk about Kwame Brown. Like, that's not the way it went.
For sure.
It was in the context of the conversation. And when it came up, now they did run with it.
Right.
But it wasn't like we finna have a whole episode. Like, that probably was about 6 minutes of like an hour and 30-something minute episode.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And again, it only came up because they were talking about who was in the draft. And then that's how it kind of... And then, like I said, when Gilbert said what he said about, Kwame's confidence being messed up, then they kind of backed off. Because again, they didn't know that.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so when they got more information, it was like, oh, okay, we got more insight. The only thing Jack was harping on was the air ball and the free throw.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
He had to, like, I put the analogy out there. It's like this. It's just like, to me, that's why I try not to get, any road rage with anybody on the road. Because you know what I'm saying? They could have had something with their wife. They mom and them could have been arguing. You don't know what somebody going through.
Family.
Right. And so it's like Kwame been going through this whole thing. Like, it ain't just, I don't think he's like, oh, I'm going to pinpoint y'all. It's just like, enough is enough. And so now I got to speak out and say, because he said something about Stephen A. Smith and Shay Shay. I don't know if you saw that video, but he was talking about all of them folks. Like, he just letting it all out now. You know what I'm saying? That's how I know. I think he been building this up. I'm like, dog, he's like, it's been 18, 20 years, dog. Y'all still talking about me doing this and being a bust and all this stuff. It's like, they right. Whoever saying that, they right. But it's like, look, as a man, I got to let you know, like, I ain't cool with that now. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I'll give you a good example. You know who they always talk about? Who's the biggest bust quarterback that they talk about? It's two of them. One of them black and one of them white. But who's the white biggest bust quarterback that they talk about?
Ryan Leaf?
You see what I'm saying? You see how you didn't have to think about it? But you know who clown Ryan Leaf harder than anybody? Ryan Leaf. When he talks about quarterbacks being a buzz, he's like, oh, well, he's not me. It to the point to where other analysts and stuff are like, well, hey, you really did have a great college career, though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, your combine numbers was off the chart. Like, you did come in. You didn't have a lot of help at wide receiver. Y'all kept changing coaches. You had... In your first 2 years, you had 3 coaches and 6 different offensive coordinators. You wasn't set up to win. You know what I'm saying? But he is accountable for what he did and did not do.
Right.
And so to me, I think had Kwame come out and said, you know what? Yeah, Jordan did bash my confidence. But after he left, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, okay, he broke my confidence when I was 18. But it ain't no reason at 25. Now I'm a grown ass man. Right. You know what I'm saying? I'm 7 years in the league. It ain't no reason why at 6'11" and the NBA kept getting softer and softer why I couldn't average 10, 11 rebounds.
Yeah. I think he had
what I'm saying?
One good.
I mean,
one,
but
one
like
good,
you got a guy
there,
like, man, Zebo couldn't even hardly jump.
Right.
And was 13 strong.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And so like you got guys that did not have, and he was athletic.
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like, so you can't teach 6'11".
No.
But like some of that's on you. And I believe had he owned his stuff, then now, and we've said this before on the podcast, like episode of Game of Thrones, where the guy was telling the guy, you got to use your flaws and wear them as armor.
Right.
Because if you do that, because people will try to take your flaws and use them against you.
Right.
But if you take your flaws and wear them as armor, can't nobody hurt you.
Right.
And it's the 8 Mile strategy. Like, how did he beat Papa Doc? He started talking about himself. Well, then what could Papa Doc say?
Yeah,
you see what I'm saying? So, like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you're 40-something years old now, and you're still stuck as that 17-year-old that got your feelings hurt. At what point do you own your part? Yes, Jordan was wrong. And that's my guy. You see, I'm rocking.
Right.
That's gonna be my GOAT. But he was wrong for that. It was a better way to do that.
Yeah.
But it got done. So what are you gonna do? How are you gonna bounce back from that? You know, and so like I said, I hope they resolve it peaceably.
Yeah, hopefully, because I don't think they, Kwame got too much time on his hands, man. They need to just, that'll be a good podcast to bring him on the show. That'll be, actually, it may be like wrestling. You know what I'm saying? They may be pubbing it up. You know what I'm saying? To get on.
I think that would be a good. We need to DM them. We need to find out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? How to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
And once I do, I'm telling you, I'm gonna be emailing them jokers nonstop.
That's all. Look, what you got to knock. Knocking.
You know what I'm saying? So we've already been retweeted by Joe Buttons.
Yes, sir.
So I'm saying if we get retweeted or shouted out by all the smoke, like we in there.
We in there, dog.
What we got next?
Next, man. We talked about this maybe a couple weeks ago. The Joe Budden podcast, as we originally know it, is over. That's with Rory and Mal. And I'm not sure if you saw they had a response video. Rory and Mal, and so they talked for maybe over an hour, talking about this and the contracts and all. It's just, it's unfortunate. For one, I think Joe, is wrong in a sense, but then I also have an executive mindset, and that I get kind of what he's saying, because he kind of like what the contract say, right? You know what I'm saying? But then you think Joe Budden, on the other hand, he's been publicly through a lot of bad contracts through his rap career. So you'd think he'll be more kind of compassionate toward those matters. You know what I'm saying? But, to me, toward the end, I thought Mal was really kind of even more laid back than what he really was, because you can tell he wasn't kind of feeling, you know what I'm saying? He was kind of still kind of beefing, because you can tell just no eye contact, right, or nothing like that going on. Rory was kind of still talking and stuff, but it's probably for the best. You know what I'm saying? I think they should start their own thing. You know what I'm saying? And let Ice and Ish, kind of do their thing. But I don't know if you, Olivia Dope, are you familiar with her? Mm-mm. She was on the Joe Budden podcast network on whatever show.
Oh, the one with the
short hair,
the where the ladies have the
See, the thing is,
right. See, the thing is, yeah.
She was on there. She just actually came out today talking about Joe Budden sexually harassed her, and they got video out. You know what I'm saying about her? You know what I'm saying? So there's a whole bunch of stuff going on with Joe now, lawsuits. And I'm not sure if Rory and Mal are going to sue him and get the books and try to do all that stuff, but it's just an unfortunate situation, man. What you think about that, Rad?
Man, we've done business before, doing business now. Our situation has never been a money problem.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like even when we had an issue, it wasn't a money problem. Like I think it was a philosophical problem.
Yeah.
And we had gotten to a point to where, as men, neither one of us wanted to concede or back down. Yeah. Like we both believed that we were right, and it wasn't an attack on you. Weren't attacking me. I wasn't attacking you, but you believed you were right. I believed I was right. And at the end, in order to preserve the respect, it was best that we go our separate ways. But it wasn't a money problem.
Right.
They talk about the respect thing, but the respect stems from the money stuff. Yeah. We never had an issue with the money stuff, because when we sat down and went over the numbers, it made sense. Mm-hmm. And even before it was something, it was like, okay, you wasn't like, all right, this it, sign or no. You was like, is this acceptable? Right. Do you agree to these terms? Mm-hmm. And if you don't agree, then okay, well, we're gonna restructure, but it's gonna be some more stuff you got to do in order to get an increase. But based on everything that was going forward, it's like, hey, it is what it is. So, the percentage is the percentage. So just for example, if we like if I'm making $100K, you know what I'm saying? You may be making more than that, but like if the income goes up to, now we're a $10 million thing. Okay, well, I still ain't gonna be making $100K. Right. My percentage is going, you know what I'm saying? Right. So yeah, and I may not be making what you making, right, but it is what it is. And if it's ever a thing of restructuring or renegotiation, we can come together and talk about that. But their issues to me stem from money stuff. But to me, I felt like it wasn't righteous in the sense that it wasn't like they were just sitting up there like, wait a second, how much money are we making? Let's look at that. It came from outside stuff because other people was cracking and making fun of it. And it's like, oh, okay, well, now I'm insecure because these people are saying something. So let me go try to see what's up. Yeah. And again, it's always three sides to a story. This person's version, this person's version, and the truth. Right. And I don't know that we will ever get the truth fully, of the situation. Yeah. But I mean, and I hate it because when it came out initially, they seemed like they were friends.
Yeah. You're talking about initially when they came out
right, with the podcast.
Okay, yeah.
And they enjoyed each other's company and just the banter between them and things like that.
And they had chemistry. Like, if you look at it from like maybe this point last year and stuff, like, it was three distinct different personalities. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Maul was kind of laid back. Joe was Joe. Rory was kind of, you know what I'm saying? He had his own little flavor, little personality.
Kind of sarcastic, like.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was cool, but it's like, I can't even front, like once you start looking at, seven figures and stuff, and then you start, it's like, it can potentially not change things, but you start looking at stuff different. Like I said, I kind of believe Maul and Rory in a sense, just because they were never quote unquote kind of workers. They were like I said, percentage partners.
Right.
Just kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like whatever their percentage is, whatever all comes in, I get like you said, you get a percentage of that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, okay, like you said, you get $100K, okay, but we got this $5 million deal. So your salary ain't gonna stay at 100K, it's gonna go up. Especially you're a percentage part, you're gonna get a percentage of whatever, that is. And so it just, I like Joe too. So it's kind of, tough to, do that. But then I also get the executive mindset that Joe Budden has, because that's his network. You know what I'm saying? He has, people to pay. He has expenses to pay, right, equipment to pay for. Right. You know what I'm saying? Places to rent. He has two other podcasts with the ladies and somebody else that he's running, that he has to answer for. So he has to pay for all that stuff through all that money that they're getting. So, I'm still, I know I saw some people talking about they gonna unsubscribe and do all that stuff to Joe. I'm still rock with Joe and hit him. But then on the flip side, if Rory and Maul has something too, I'll probably still check them out too, see if I kind of dig it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like, as far as them, like, I like their stuff, but I just feel like, if you're gonna be doing this, and we had a whole episode talking about pandering and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And at some point, we may end up being on somebody's episode. We may have somebody, like we may be sitting up with the I Am Athlete podcast.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And Ocho and Shannon and B. Marshall and Fred may have something to say about some of the stuff.
Right.
We said about them. You know what I'm saying? Right. I mean, and I'm gonna be me.
Right. You got to.
You know what I'm saying? Right. Like it is what it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and again, like for me.
Right.
But like for those of you all who don't, you know what I'm saying? Like I'd be the dude getting my ass whooped and I'm still talking.
Right.
Like you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to kill me.
Right.
But I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like in the midst of me getting a whooping from my dad growing up, like I'm gonna still.
Right.
And my dad would, tell my teachers and stuff when I get in trouble. Look, like I got kicked out of 6th, 7th, 8th grade, but he tell my teacher, like, look, he handled the situation wrong, but he really believes in his heart, like he really stands by what he did and what he said. Mm-hmm. That's not how I taught him to handle the situation, but for him to go to that length, he really believes it. And anybody who knows me know, like, that's the type of person I am. So if we sitting there with Matt and Jack, they may not like something we say.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But if I disagree, I'm gonna tell you.
You got to keep it on. Actually,
you know what I'm saying? So
me and Jack went back. It was a status maybe a month or two ago, and I put me and Stak were actually going back and forth on a status. I forgot what it was about. Appreciate about Stak because he reaches out. You know what I'm saying, to pretty much everybody. So you know what I'm saying. So it's everybody not like that. So that's
I mean, and I love both. I love Matt Barnes and Jack. Like, you know what I'm saying? But again, like if they say something out of line, I'm gonna say it. If I feel that's what it is.
Right.
And at least even if I disagree, help me understand.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I still may disagree with you, but at least like I said, man, I feel you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That ain't my way. That ain't the way I see it, but I feel you.
Right. And that's the thing. So I hope Joe Budden and wish, them well in their podcast, but I ain't gonna lie. It's looking, with this Olivia Dope thing, sexual harassment thing, with this coming about, like it could get a little shaky for Joe Budden, in the future a little bit.
Man, that's why I don't leave nobody on the side of the face no more.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Because you got to get permission.
Yeah. And that's what he actually said on the pod.
You got to get a non-disclosure agreement.
That's what he said. But the thing is with, maybe you'll see it after this, but with Olivia Dope, he was on the podcast. I listened, talking about he wanted to have sex with Olivia. And then on the camera, he was like, give me a hug. And Joe giving a hug, rotating his hips, you know what I'm saying, while giving a hug. You know what I'm saying? And so obviously she didn't like that and a couple other uncomfortable moments. You know what I'm saying? So that sucks. That's all I can say about that. That sucks. The next rundown topic, man, this is I think I sent you this, the Ohio governor. He created a vaccination lottery. That is, you can be put, I guess, in a hat for the lottery if you're, this is another ploy to make sure people, hurry up and go ahead and kind of get vaccinated. I don't have too much more to say about it. We've been on this for a while. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want to beat a dead horse.
Every time we post something, man, they put that little stupid thing on our stuff on Instagram and Facebook. Because your what your post contains information about,
right.
Yeah, whatever. Like, dude, get your money, nigga. If you gonna do it, get your money. Like, whatever.
Do what you do.
I was having a conversation while I was at work about this the other day, and I said I don't have any problem with people taking it.
For sure.
It's like I just have I have a problem because the people who are making it are lying to me. And we read off what the CDC's definition of what a vaccine is.
Mm-hmm. Last couple weeks, I think.
Yeah. So don't tell me it's a vaccine. If you say it's a shot, cool.
Mm-hmm.
But don't tell me that it's something that it's not.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like that's all I have. Like that's the biggest issue is like you're telling me that it's something that it's not. And if I get a vaccine, when I take a vaccine of anything, my body's going to produce the antibodies to fight off whatever it is so that I cannot catch whatever I'm being vaccinated from. If I can still catch it, if I'm in danger when I'm around people who got it, if I got to take it again in 6 months, I'm not getting a vaccine. Because we discussed several vaccines.
Right.
I've never heard of nobody taking a smallpox vaccine twice or polio vaccine twice. You know what I'm saying? Like you take them one time, but not a flu shot.
Right.
It ain't no flu vaccine. It's a flu shot.
Yeah.
But you got to take that, every other year?
Or every year.
It's something, you know what I'm saying? Like, but that's why they call it
Supposedly.
a flu shot. Like they're saying COVID vaccine. And it's, again, vaccines take 10 years to develop.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And so it ain't no way. So that means, again, it makes me wonder, okay, so if you were developing this vaccine back in 2010, then that means it was already this particular strain of whatever it is. So y'all was in on it. So either y'all was behind releasing it or y'all been, you know what I'm saying? So like, I'm going to trust you and you help get it out. Or you really don't know what's the vaccine is, or the shot is going to do or how it's going to affect people or what the side effects are going to be. So again, you want me to take something that we don't know what it's going to do. But according to the CDC's website, you can look it up. Most people won't. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge because it takes too much work to actually sit up and go and read those paragraphs and pay. But according to the CDC, if you got good baseline health, you have a 99% chance of recovering from it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, it doesn't mean it's going to be comfortable, while you're recovering. But if you have good baseline health, you have a 99% chance of recovering from it.
Mm-hmm. And those are just the facts, man. It's, like I said, I don't want to be the dead horse, but I'm like, it's so.
And again, if you want to take it, take it.
Please take it.
But it should be people's choice.
Right.
Like, think about it now. We will sit up here and we even us as we both profess to be Christians, but ultimately we don't discuss abortion a lot because we say at the end of the day, we do not have a right as an individual to tell a woman what to do with her body.
Right.
That's between you and the Lord. That's the way we look at it. My opinion on whether or not you choose to get an abortion is irrelevant because that is your body. I do not have a right to tell you what to do with your body. Now, if you ask me what I think, that's different. Right. But I do not have a right to tell you you're this or you're that or you're not this or you're that because you choose to do that.
And you shouldn't do it.
But on the flip side, it's okay for you to tell me I'm not this or I'm a danger to this because of what I'm choosing to do to my body.
And that's the thing. I just want let's go again. Let's keep on going here. This is Joe Biden statement. I think I sent you this, and this is just, I'm just continuing to build in the case, man. Building the case for Money Joe, what we call him, right?
Money Bag Joe.
You know, Money Joe. So he's actually tweeted this out. He said on this International Day, I think maybe it was yesterday, sometime this week, he said on this International Day against homophobia, transphobia, biphobia, the message from the United States is clear. Everyone deserves dignity and equality, no matter who they are or whom they love. We're committed to advancing LGBTQ plus rights here at home and around the world. And right on for that. You know what I'm saying? That is nothing wrong with that. But the only thing wrong is the people that you were pandering to vote for you and got on the Breakfast Club saying, you know, you're not black if you don't do this. Not a single thing has been done on our behalf yet to really, at least to be like adapt or say thank you or something. Like, it's just like I thought even beforehand, it's like we're being used to support his agenda. You know what I'm saying? And I just, you know, when I see stuff like that, I just do not think it's right. I just think that we need, you know, but then even with this, even when I'm saying this, or people actually see the tweet and what he actually said, will make an excuse and be like, but no, like, come on. Like, when are we going to get a just due? And, you know, side note, you know, the Senate just officially passed the Asian crime bill today officially. You know, the president has to just sign off on it today, tomorrow or whatever. So that's done. And I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago. So it took maybe 3 weeks to get this done.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
it's very quick.
Yeah. So I'm just like, come on, man.
And so, and again, and I'm big on words. You know, we talked about this last week, the whole lexicon thing. You know, like shout out to Dr. Nielsen, rest in peace.
Yes, sir.
And I have the definition of what a phobia is. So first of all, it's a noun, which means, and we know definition of a noun is a person, place, thing, or an idea. So it's this. I can't hold a phobia in my hand, but I know what it is. It's real because I feel it, right?
Right.
So the definition of a phobia is an extreme or irrational fear of or aversion to something. Now, the word aversion means you have a strong dislike. So now I have a problem with somebody saying I'm any type of phobic because I don't have any extreme or irrational. It means it's not rational. Right. It's not logical. Yeah. But I don't have any extreme fear or I can't explain, you know, something against anything or anyone. And then as far as aversion, which that word, not a virgin, aversion, aversion, the word is aversion
right.
of anything, because aversion means you have a strong dislike. Okay, so I don't dislike anybody because you're gay or transgender or bisexual or queer or asexual, whatever. Ain't got nothing to do with me. What I always say, what you eat don't make me shit.
Right. Yeah.
Like, you sitting up there eating a hamburger is not gonna make me boo-boo at the end of the day. So that if that's your bag, I always say, that's between you and the Lord. I ain't got nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
Again, now if you ask me what I think about it, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
But man, live your life, because at the end of the day, you got to answer for everything you do and don't do. But I'm not afraid.
Mm-hmm.
Quick story, and I don't know if we talked about this before, but your guy, our guy, Keizo Stewart.
Keizo.
When we used to work at FedEx together, like at the time, my car went down, so like I'd be riding with him to work and stuff like that. And so, chick I was working with, I hooked him up with her. You know what I'm saying? So like, we had to drop her off. You know what I'm saying? For he take me back. You know what I'm saying? Because I stayed about 10 minutes from him, so he drop her off and then he take me back home. Well, she had a guy who stayed in the same apartment complex. He worked with us at Fed, and now this was before being a transgender was acceptable. Mm. He would come in full wig, bra, stuff in the bra. Like he walked better than any woman in the hood. Like the girls that I work with at FedEx would be mad because they was like, and anybody who I used to work with at Fed would know who I'm talking about, because he come through walking and be like, oh, this nigga got more booty than I do. And like new hires would come in and see him come through switching. They'd be looking, man, what's that tall thing? And they'd be like, hey, I don't know. Like if that's what you like, cool.
Try it
but
if you wanna.
hey, that's not you know what I'm saying? So he stayed in the same apartment complex and he didn't have a ride. So he got dropped off with Kay's girl. Mm. They got dropped off together. Mm-hmm. But like her ride back home was Stewart.
Right.
Whatever. Guess who his ride home was? Keizo. Now keep this in mind. I used to work on the slide with him. I was a ramp agent and he was one of the people who worked on the line. Like I had to basically tell him, I gave out instructions. Yeah. So we ride, now imagine we walking out the hub. You got one dude walking next to his girl. You got me, and then, walking out. And I didn't care who was looking at me because I did not have a problem or an issue. I don't care what you do. When I rode back in the car, when you remember the blue joint Keenan had, was it the Escort he had?
Yeah, the Escort, yep.
They riding in the front. I'm sitting in the back. Mm-hmm. And this wasn't no little dude either. Like he was every bit of 6'3".
Oh wow.
You know what I'm saying? Had gotten a scholarship to play basketball in college, but didn't take it because he wanted to live his truth and he knew he could not do that at that time. Right. Doing it. And I remember we was at work one day and there was a bunch of people talking, and he was talking about how people just, was just harsh on him and judging him. And he called me out by now. He said, I know a few people that don't really, that talk about they Christians or whatever, but they really believe what they say. And he said, like, for example, like Roche ain't never said nothing crazy about, he ain't never looked at me crazy. He never treated me no different. Mm-hmm. He said, but some of these same people that go to church and everything like that, like they don't know me. They don't know my story. They don't know my life, but they ain't had a conversation with me, but they looking down on me. And again, and I don't know what he doing now. Like, again, but I do know he can't say I ever cracked a joke on him. I ever called him out his name. I ever mistreated him. Because again, you're a person at the end of the day. Now, whether or not I agree, right. And this is my issue with what he said and everything like that. And I know you were going more so on the point that because he still ain't done shit for black people. But my thing is he talked about the phobias. And everybody don't have a strong fear or dislike. The dislike is for you telling me that because you do that, I got to be cool with it. Right. I got to like it.
Mm-hmm. Or I got to agree exactly how you go about your business. And so that ain't never right, but that is the flood. Just like, if you don't agree, like whatever your opinion is, like I said, if somebody asks you what you think about something, what you think about abortion, or what you think about, two men being together, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You would, according to me, blah, 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? So, but you're a homophobe. You know what I'm saying? Because you think this way. I'm like, no, I'm not a homophobe. I'm not saying I'm scared of nobody or that I'm, you know what I'm saying? But this is just not my philosophy. This is not my perspective and what I think. I wouldn't handle my business like this. But if they do, okay, fine. But you ask me my opinion, my view, there it is.
And again, like I would reason with anybody. First of all, if I was afraid of you, or if I was afraid, I wouldn't even talk about it, or talk to somebody who that was their lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know people who have I forget what the phobia is, but they the fear of clowns.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't even talk about a clown. They're gonna lose it.
Yeah.
People who are afraid of spider, who have arachnophobia, they would just the mention of, you say spider and they jumping up in the chair and looking around and be like, no, like Spider-Man, like but they can't even, because they have a real life fear or dislike. Now, we've worked at jobs and had supervisors, bosses, co-workers we didn't like, but we had to go to work to get paid. How many times are you going to willfully sit down and have a conversation with somebody you just don't like?
Mm-hmm.
How many times are you going to sit up and talk about something you don't like just continuously?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Like case in point, and unless I'm making a point, the only time I point it out is when I'm making an example. Like, I'm not a Cowboys fan.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I don't just walk up to you, man, let me tell you something about these Cowboys. Like, I don't do that. Right. I don't like them. What am I talking about them for?
Although there's a lot of people that do.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. But that's a hater though.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and so like, I don't just come up to you and this is, man, just Cowboys everywhere. Yeah. But I'm not afraid of the Cowboys.
Right.
Because I would be uncomfortable sitting up here watching you drink from that cup and looking around the room. Now, that's not my squad.
Right.
And if you sit down with me and you know why I don't like we got a deep-seated history. So even my dislike ain't irrational. I got a good reason.
Right.
Just like you have a good reason to not like my squad.
Vice versa, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But again, I just hate that language is used. And again, going back to your initial point, dude, you doing all this stuff for everybody but the people who you was like, you not black if they didn't vote for you. And what have you done for your constituents? Those constituents, that side.
Not a nan, another. Not a nan. And so, next rundown topic here, which is actually unfortunate. A couple weeks ago, we talked about the Andrew Brown murder. The deputies that were charged in the fatal shooting won't face any charges, at least as of now. They claimed it to be justified. This is unfortunate to say the very least. I want to actually say a quote from what they actually said. I guess the police chiefs or something. And I heard the actual police, they're actually back on the job now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so let me see. It says, I find that the facts of this case clearly illustrate the officer who used deadly force on Andrew Brown Jr. did so reasonably and only when a violent felon, see how they use that violent felon, used a deadly weapon to place their lives in danger. And that, mind you, I know I haven't seen these stories yet. Maybe if you know, I still don't think they released the tape yet or the video that I've heard or that I've seen. So I still don't think they have released publicly the tape that actually sees that. But Andrew Brown's family lawyer has seen it, and they are going to obviously, compete against that ruling that they did. You know what I'm saying? Because they said he was no really physical harm from them, for the officers to use deadly force. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you got to do, whatever. But, to use deadly force. And so this has come back to the fact of where I believe that in general, the police force are there to protect and serve, but it's protect and serve themselves. You know what I'm saying? Which, in return is from the opposite to me is when you take an oath, because that's a part of taking the police jobs, fireman jobs, that, okay, they can give a cushion, salary or whatever, or at least firemen, but policemen's, they don't get a big, huge salary or nothing, but it's a risk reward thing because you're there to protect and serve the people. And so if you're not protecting and serving the people, but you're more so protecting and serving yourselves, now you're kind of getting out of line to what you even taking that job for.
Yeah.
It's sad.
You use like your new phrase, as I was saying last week, it's par for the course. Like it's just more the same, man.
Right.
Like I'm not even surprised. Like one step forward, two steps back. Like, and again, even like with Derek Chauvin, like it's a possibility he could win his appeal. You know what I'm saying? But but even if he doesn't, it's like, oh, okay, we'll give you one. But you know what I'm saying, and it's like, again, I'm not surprised.
It's sad. Like I said, it's sad all the way around, man. So, prayers, thoughts to Andrew Brown's family as they kind of go through this whole situation. If we get any more live information, we of course will let y'all know on the rundown, because I know some of y'all maybe get our news from us on here, so we appreciate it. So
and some of y'all just like to hear us talk, talk your shit,
nigga.
Yeah.
Like
they like to hear us, do that. So
let's do it. So the next rundown, we just actually, before we started this, watching the play-in game, the NBA play-in games. As of now, this recording, the Pacers smashed the Hornets. It was probably about 30 points. I don't know. I stopped watching, so I don't know the final score. Actually, Boston and Washington was pretty close when we stopped watching it. So I'm not sure what's going on with that now, but actually we can look it up. But yeah,
I was trying to look it up.
Right.
Let's see.
Boston and Washington are playing actually as we speak. Actually, it may be almost done. And then you got the Grizzlies.
No, so they
done?
They have won 118-100.
Who?
The Celtics. They have won 118-100.
So the Celtics won, and so that means now the Celtics will be the 8th seed. No, the 7th seed playing Brooklyn, the first round.
Oh, Jason Tatum had 50.
What?
Yep. So the Celtics are gonna be 7. They're gonna face Brooklyn.
Yeah. And
then the Wizards in Indiana are going to play to see which one of them is gonna be the 8th.
Get the 8th. Yep. Wow, 50. Jay Tatum cold, dog.
Yeah.
That's cold. That dude cold. And the Grizz play the Spurs tomorrow, and the one I really want to see, the Warriors and the Lakers. Like, this is a 1-game situation. Like, I think ESPN had it up, like, which player is most dangerous in a 1 game. I'm like, it got to be Steph. Like, a 1 game. That's like NCAA tournament. Like, he can get hot.
Yeah.
And it can be, but I think the Lakers going to kind of handle business, though. Like, you know what I'm saying?
I hope so.
You know, because if they win, they get the 7th seed. That means they will play Phoenix, and then
I don't know that they're gonna beat Phoenix though.
That's gonna be tough. That'll be tough. I would actually like to see that. So,
hey, Devin Booker said, "Hey, this is my last year not making the playoffs, bro."
He did. That boy tough, man. That boy tough. And CP3, honestly, well, this actually goes into our next. You know, we going into these quickies now. You know what I'm saying? Going into these quickies, you know. So this first quickie is just your humble opinion. Who do you believe is your NBA MVP?
None of them niggas.
None?
What's the dude that played for Denver?
Jokic. Okay.
I mean, because he's been healthy, he's been consistent. It hadn't been up and down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody else, you done missed too many games. True. You've been too up and down. Like, you have embarrassing losses. Like, even with the loss of homeboy, what's the
Jamal Murray? Yeah,
it's like he's still, you know what I'm saying? Is that dude like unflappable? So, I mean, that's who I got.
I say CP3. That's why I say kind of run, because CP3, like,
I can see that.
The Phoenix were nothing last year, kind of without him. And he had, I mean, numbers wise, you look at his numbers and be like, okay, they good, but they're not quote unquote MVP. Like, Jokic has MVP numbers. I think like 27, 11, and 8 assists or something. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, CP is not going to win it just because.
I mean, because you could argue, like, look at Randall for the Knicks. I mean, like, was, you know, he's upped his play.
He should be in the conversation.
You know, you could say, you know, so, but like I said, I like Jokic.
For sure. And this one, like, our boy LeBron, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to set this up. He's trying to set up a narrative, right? Okay, he was, you know, if you know anything about LeBron, he's a master. He's a master at, you know, setting up a narrative, whether he wins or loses. You know what I'm saying? Because if he wins, he made this big mountain of a victory, but if he loses, it's like I told you before.
Yeah, I would have won if it wasn't for that.
Right. So he has this ankle injury, and so he proclaimed Steph as the MVP of this year so far. He said Steph is the MVP. We're going against him. And, he coming off this little injury, the ankle injury. He kind of tweaked it the other game and stuff. And so it's basically setting up as, this mountain of a thing. If we beat the Warriors.
So if we win, is I had to overcome. But if we lose, it's because my ankle was
exactly. So, people got to peep game. You know what I'm saying? I mean, he's a master. I give LeBron credit on that because he knows theatrics. He knows how to try to set this up because he knows this is the only way for him to create a narrative to try to trump Jordan. You know what I'm saying? So he has to create these narratives to where he makes these huge, leaps to get over the hump. But he ain't never gonna be my GOAT. I'm just gonna speak facts. So he ain't gonna never do that. So next quickie here, he said Walmart is mask free for those that have been vaccinated, going by the honor system, Rag. The honor system. So, we can go on Walmart and Target now, you know what I'm saying, with no mask on, you know what I'm saying, just being like we
everybody can pass an open book test.
Right. Exactly. So I just wanted to mention that. I thought that was
ain't no honor system.
It's an honor system. It's interesting.
I know where I'm gonna be at.
Right. And this one right here coming up, man. We talked about this last week. J. Cole came out with an album, right? Okay. And I'll go for it because you're the MC. I want, you're versed in the music and, I'm versed in it too, but he is the MC. And I thought the J. Cole album was real good. I thought it was maybe more than what I expected. You know what I'm saying? Like, but for me, I don't put Cole. Like, I think he's a good rapper. I think he's a good artist. I think he's a good musician. I think he's a good lyricist. I think he's a good producer. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, he's it was good. Like, creativity wise, let me ask you a question. Creativity wise, how you think Cole is? Like, as far as song structure, making different.
Yeah, I think he's very conceptual.
Okay.
And so, like, if you don't see the concept, then sometimes it's like, oh, he might be all over the place. I don't know where he's going. Mm-hmm. But like, if it's almost like how sometimes if you was looking at a certain painting, you're like, man, what in the world am I looking at? Mm-hmm. But then if somebody tells you, oh, well, this is this, and then you like, oh, snap, I can see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but you wasn't, but before you knew what it was, you was just like, it's just a mess. But then when you were told what it was, then you could see certain colors pop out and stand out. And so I think when you understand, like, even with the album being called Off Season, like some of the songs and the lyrics that he was saying in the songs, it was almost like, how you approach an off season, whether either that's working hard or disregarding, kind of chilling, laying back. I like this album, and I know this is a quickie, but this album was one where like the production is like, it was no like, oh, I don't like that beat, let me skip it. Like, I was just, man, I'm listening, I'm like, okay. You know what I'm saying? Like, because some of the other stuff, like, you may like the song, but like, you don't want to be riding down, Beale Street. Right. You know what I'm saying? This sound like a ballad. You know what I'm saying? Like, is he listening to R&B or, listen to smooth jazz or something? Like, right. Like, nah, like, and it's, like 21 Savage surprised me on this album. Like, the good guest appearance from Cameron on the intro. Like, I really did enjoy, the album, and I wasn't disappointed. I definitely, when you talk about like this current generation, he's definitely like in my 1A and 1B.
Would you put him like this? This is just me. Like, I put in my group chat and stuff. We were talking about, I think he's good, but I put him like below Kendrick for me, just because I'm thinking of just complete artistry, creativity. Like,
it's kind of hard when you want a Pulitzer Like Kendrick got a Pulitzer.
Yeah, he
like
right.
so,
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That means that they consider what you did as a work of art. Like that will stand the test of time. Like that's timeless. You know what I'm saying? Like we still like that's almost like a Nobel Prize. Like we still talk about Dr. King winning the Nobel Prize. Like they're gonna talk about his Pulitzer if he never makes another rap album. You know, so that's why I got him, like I said, 1A, 1B. Like he's my 1A, but Cole is like my 1B.
I put like I made this thing before. Like I looked at Kendrick as like Jay, and then Cole as like Nas, just because of what you said. And this was maybe a few years ago. People were like, oh no, it's the opposite because you know Cole was Jay too. But I'm like abstract, just like with Nas. Nas will have a lot of great records,
very abstract,
because you would tell, okay, Nas, this is what this is about, and then you be like, oh, that's dope. But then Jay, you know what it's bumpy. You hear Jay in the club, in the street. And you know what I'm saying, some some grown folk stuff, you know what I'm saying, like, and that's where you hear Kendrick,
right? And then too, like with Jay, is like it wasn't that he wasn't deep. It's like sometimes it was just so potent directly, you didn't even know it was deeper than what he was saying it, because he made it so to the point to where it was digestible for everybody.
Yep.
Whereas like with Nas is like eating like if you go order like a 16-ounce steak. You know what I'm saying? Like you got to put your bib, but like man, you got to come with your grown man appetite.
Yeah, had a nice.
You know what I'm saying?
Knife.
Whereas like you know, Jay is more like a surf and turf. You know what I'm saying? Like so you eating surf and turf, you're not gonna get a 16-ounce. You know what I'm saying? That probably give you like a 10-ounce. You know what I'm saying? You have like some lobster or whatever. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get this lobster tail and I can eat this steak. You know what I'm saying? But they're both high dollar items
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like I said, man, I love that, and I know that was a quickie. We went kind of in on it, but I did. I love this new album. You need to go check it out if you haven't.
Yeah, it's worth your time. I plan to go in on that, but yeah, J. Cole, real good album. In the last quickie here, I just want to give a salute to Jay-Z, Tina Turner, and LL Cool J for being inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. You know what I'm saying? So that's, honestly, I thought Jay-Z was already in it. And I don't, so I didn't, but I think he was in the Songwriter Hall of Fame.
Right.
He was, him and Jermaine Dupri got in that. And so, so salute to those guys on that, man. So,
another one, man, did you check out any of those Hall of Fame speeches?
I did.
Man, those were some good speeches, man. I did not know Tamika Catchings' story. And that was just dope to me.
That was the one that hit home for me. Because I didn't know she had a speech impediment.
Yeah, I didn't either.
You know what I'm saying?
Like Rudy T had a good one.
Yep.
KG, of course, was going to be epic. Yep. You know what I'm saying? Tim Duncan, Vanessa Bryant was really emotional, talking about Kobe.
Pop cried too. You see Pop a little tear?
Yeah.
Little tear on there.
Those were some dope speeches.
Oh, yeah, you saw my boy Chris Webber got in for next year.
Oh, he did? Oh, so he's a finalist.
No, I think they said him, Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh. Those are the headliners.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, him, Chris Webber, Paul Pierce, Chris Bosh are the headliners, and a few other people too. But those are the people that headline.
Well,
yeah, it is definitely, man. I'm glad
Chris need to go and let Jalen induct him.
That would be dope. Because they were.
And they just squashed their beef publicly too.
I saw that on ESPN. Yeah. So that was good, man. Because man, like if you brothers like that, you grew up like that. Come on,
literally
man.
known somebody since you were a child.
Yeah, man. Like you gotta, whatever it is, you gotta let that go. Y'all grown, y'all got kids now. I think you saw Jalen lost his mom. He was crying on national TV.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just time, bro. Because let go of all the other stuff, bro. If he ain't killed your mama, stabbed somebody that you cool with like that, like you can. Even with that, you should be able to forgive. But it's harder to forgive if you've done something personally to somebody, to that extent. But, shout out to Chris Webber. And, he just got fired from TNT as a broadcaster, which, like I said, I was last week talking about Chris Webber, but he wasn't good at the broadcast. I didn't like listening to him call games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, to me, I think he's better as an analyst than... Yeah, I think he would be better served like doing something like what
Shaq and them do.
Yeah,
Charles Barkley.
Mm-hmm. He would be better there.
Agreed. So y'all, until next time, Continue with that executive mindset.
And most definitely keep it presidential. Bow.
Salute.
Arrivederci.